I'm gonna reveal to you the $0 to $30,000 a month high ticket launch strategy, and this is the exact strategy that allowed me to close 30,000 in deals in just 2 months as a 16-year entrepreneur, and print some of my clients insane results like these over here. As you can see, $1,000 pays for Taylor, right? Consistent $5,000 sales. So let's go over the entire ecosystem, right? So this is the $0 to $30,000 a month high ticket launch strategy. So the overview. So this consists of three different sequences, right? It's a market validation sequence, a hype sequence, and then a launch sequence. Now, I want you to understand you only need three sequences to make 30K every single month with an IG launch, hands down. You don't need anything more. You don't need anything less. If you just follow everything I lay out to you in this video, I guarantee you, you will make $30,000. So let's go over the first sequence, which is the market validation sequence. Now, the whole goal of this is so you can lock in real demand, you can refine your messaging, and you can secure committed buyers. So what's the first step? Well, the first step is to use multi-format polls. So for example, put up an Instagram poll and the text of that could be, which one of these challenges keeps you awake at night? Which one of these sleep challenges keeps you awake at night? You know, what time do you go to sleep? Right? This is an example for a sleep performance coach, but that's just the idea. And then you want to have 3 to 4 different options, which your viewers, ICP, whatever, they can click on, and then you can see who clicked on who, right? Amazing. So you can use these, I would say 3 to 4 a day for 2 days straight. You're going to get some really, really good insight on exactly what the market wants. Right. Obviously, like, you might already know some of this stuff, like, for example, what time your audience goes to bed, or like what the average sleep score is, but you probably don't know how to run it right. And that's exactly what I said. Something like this 3 to 4 times in a day for 2 days straight. And then you're going to understand what your market wants. You're going to understand what to give to them. So that way, then you can make the best service possible and you can appeal it towards their needs. That's the whole point of this launch. Another example could be, as you can see, every person that votes on the poll, I want you to do this, right? I want you to religiously follow this, because if you do it, I guarantee you will make a bunch of money. So first off, I want you to reach out to them. So for example, let's say someone clicked option A. I want you to reach out to that person that clicked option A, or as many people as possible that clicked option A, and then option B, then option C, then option D. And by the 24 hours of you actually posting that poll, you should have reached out to everyone that's voted. So what I want you to do is I want you to offer them a 15-minute call. Tell them this is like a no selling, this is market research just to make my service the best it possibly can. I'm not going to sell to you. And what you want to do is you want to ask them pre-qualifying questions just to find out more about your product, what your audience actually wants, what your ICP actually wants. And now if they're genuinely interested, right? Like if you can see from their eyes, if you can see from the words, if you can see from their body language, their facial expressions, that they're actually interested in what you have to offer, I want you to go either one of these two routes. So the first one is a soft pre-sale. Now, a soft pre-sale basically means you're not going to do a hard sell. You're just going to say, yo, bro, like, we're just opening this up for you. Would you be down to join? At normal price point, get them in. This is just a soft pre-sale. If they don't want to join, leave them. You can sell them later. And if they do want to join, get them in ASAP. Now, the next route is the early bird offer. Now, this is where you give them some sort of discount or some sort of promotion as like being one of the first people to actually hop on a call with you and actually join the program. So that way then they can help you refine and iterate the program. So you could say, I'm giving you like a 25% discount. I don't usually do this, but since you're like one of the early birds, since I'm just starting this program out, I'm going to give you a 25% discount. You can get in for $2,000 right now. And yeah, you can have lifetime access. That's an example of an early bird offer. And both of these work, okay? It's just about how you actually apply them. Now, once you've done that, obviously, like once you've gone through these sequences, once you're running these polls, once you're hopping on these sort of calls, I want you to collect all the information in some sort of database. So that way you know exactly what people say. Let's say you're asking a pre-qualifying question about your product, you know, would this product be better or would this be better? That's just an example. Whatever they answer, put that in a database. And then what you can do is put that database into ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to extract the insights and make an insane offer out of that, or just find the common gaps. I run this sequence for 4 days. And obviously, like when you do polls, don't just have like text polls. So there's an image in the background and there's a poll. Don't just have that, because that's going to be boring. People are not going to vote anymore. You want to have a bit of like authenticity to it. So you could have a talking head poll where it's just my phone out. You're talking to the phone about some story you've had or what you're working on, some insane things coming out. And if they want access to it, they just vote on the poll. It just intrigues them, just incentivizes them to vote on the poll, and that's exactly what you want. So that is the market validation sequence covered. And so you run it for 4 to 5 days, and you should have a good understanding of your market. You should have hopped on by 20 to 25 calls by now. And honestly, you could have already sold to 2 to 3 people for like 2-3 grand. So by now, you should have already made like 5-6 grand. Okay, just simply from the market validation sequence. Now let's move on to the hype sequence. Now the whole point of this is so you can turn those lurkers, those people that are just watching your Instagram stories, scrolling by every single day, to turn them up into fired buyers. So how are we going to do that? This is through building up FOMO, social proof, and clarity that this is a one-time opportunity. You have to make your audience understand this is a one-time opportunity. And the way we can do that is by using, first off, the Instagram timing feature, where, for example, you could say over text, something massive is coming out in like 15 days from now. And it's going to help you guys go from X to Y. You will be able to do X, Y, Z. And you want to mix this up between talking head and text, because some people just prefer reading text and some people prefer watching like a 20-30 second video explaining this stuff. So I want you to have both available for your audience. Now, just some formats of stories you can do for this sequence is a countdown teaser. So for example, something massive launching in X amount of days, you can have the Instagram timing feature there, exactly the entire countdown. You can also do a live Q&A. Now, this is amazing, right? Because your audience is on the edge. They want to know what's coming out, and they're going to have a bunch of questions about it, right? So if they have any questions about it, give them the opportunity to answer those questions. You answer those questions. So for example, you put up a Q&A about big thing launching. People are going to ask you questions like, oh, what's going to be launching, man? Like, is it going to help? Is it going to help agency owners? Is it going to help consultants? I want you to answer like those. Like, is it going to help agency owners? Is it going to help consultants? But when they say what's going to be inside the program, you don't actually want to state what's inside the program. You want to state the benefits, not the features, right? Because if you saw the benefits, they're going to be more likely to get in. You don't want to reveal exactly what's inside. Just show them what the benefits are, and they're going to be more likely to buy. Okay, so forget that. So let's move on, right? So it's all about shifting beliefs, right? You want to shift beliefs. You want to amplify their pain points, and you want to make your audience curious about what you have to offer. Because if you can do those 3 things, shift beliefs, amplify pains, make them curious, you're gonna have an insane amount of buyers. And like I said, you will make more than $30,000 a month. You'll make like $60,000, $70,000 a month. Okay, now the next type of stories you can do is a sneak peek. Now a sneak peek is basically showing your audience, showing your leads what exactly you're making, so behind the scenes content, right? So for example, I can get my phone out and like, let's say this is a training module for one of my like high ticket offers. This example is a training module. I would take a photo saying, just finished recording a 55-minute module for something I'm releasing in like X amount of days, and I have your timing feature, right? That's behind the scenes. Next thing is transformational stories. And this is basically showing how your client went from point A to point B using a specific framework. So for example, here's how, Taylor went from 0 to 1,000 consistent days. And then you break down the process, you shift the beliefs, you amplify their pains, and then at the end you want to say, you can too, just gotta wait 10 days, right? And the final thing is free source. So what I want you to do is I want you to give a bit of value, not too much value, and then leave the rest of the steps behind the door. So for example, let's say, this is exactly how you can make money from Instagram Reels. You want to show step 1, but keep step 2, 3, and 4 inside the paid program, and you want to tell those guys, if you want access to the next steps, you got to wait a few days until I launch this. Again, that's going to put them on the edge of their seat. It's going to keep them curious. And yeah, I want you to use the reply to story method as well. So reply to the story with the word free if you want access to the next few steps. And then what you can do is set up ManyChat automations where, for example, ManyChat is like an AI automation which automatically replies to every single word, every single person that sends you a specific keyword which you can set up. They can then tap the icon, and then you can enroll them in some sort of waitlist which you can use using Typeform, Google Forms, or Fill Out, right? So that is the hype sequence. That is building up hype. That is building up curiosity. That is getting a bunch of people into fired up buyers. So when we launch, you're going to be making a shit ton of money. Okay, so now we go into the launch. This is the real saucy part. So the goal of this is to open up the cart. You want to automate outreach. You want to host a live Q&A day, and you want to close out all spots. So you want to have a wait list, and you want to close out all spots. So let's go over the entire sequence. So day one is I want you to flood the best engaged members. So I want you to go live on Instagram. Go live on Instagram and set some sort of AI automation or have like a setter work on your account. And they should reach out to every single person who is DM'd or commented you in the past 7 days. And that's going to add them to the wait list. Add them to the waitlist, get them in, send some guys a few payment links that are already ready to buy, or just get them on a call, right? And that should be a 15, 20K in deals this year right there. So in total, we should have made like 26K so far. Right. So some key metrics to track is DM open rate, which should be over 70%. A CTR, so click-through rate, should be over 20%. And first hour booking should be just over 20% as well. That's just some key metrics to follow. If it's not on spot, just send me a DM on Instagram and I'll help you out. I check my Instagram out again, first link in the description. Now, day two is the AI follow-up sequences. So continue running the story sequences, but now I want you to send follow-ups to all the people that have engaged with your content, okay? You can have a setter or you can have some sort of AI automation do this. Now, day three is a live ask day event. Now, this is to remove any final objections and to deliver high-value free training. So it's a live Q&A. And it's a pre-event hype. You're going to show the event and an immediate CTA and then an upsell. You should be collecting at least 10K in both of these days combined. So now you've made a total of $30,000 to $35,000. Now we move on to day four, which is social proof and scarcity. So now you want to show in your stories, your clients winning, transformation stories, how many people are filling up in the spots. Every time someone joins, the payments coming through, right? Made 25K in the last 2 days, boys. Spots are filling up fast, building up scarcity. And then day five is closing all doors, and people have to DM you private for late one-to-one access, and you can only let a few people in. Only let like 2 or 3 people in. And now you should have collected $40,000 to $45,000 simply from this one launch strategy. And now you want to close doors. If anyone says they want to join afterwards, don't let them in. Say you got to wait 1 month. Okay, and you want to do this again in an entire month, right? And if you can do this successfully, you will have cash collected minimum, right? Minimum $30,000. I'm saying you guys can make, I would say, $50,000 averaging from this if you can run this like every 3 months. In the second month, third month, you want to run something different, which I can review or break down to you in another video. Or if you can watch the previous video, on the, which was about the Ascension funnel. So let's go over the next steps, right? So the follow-up, let me show you guys the follow-up formula. So I want you to understand you have to follow up. Just follow up, because that's literally where the money's at. I know there's many of you guys that are giving up after 1 or 2 messages. You send an outreach DM and people won't respond and you move on, right? And you don't understand. Like, you literally don't understand how much money you're leaving on the table, because if you aren't following up, how are you expecting to make money, right? Because let me just give you an example. You send an outreach message to someone. 95% of the time, they're not going to reply. So you have to follow up. It's an obligation for you to follow up. The prospect is saying, follow up. You just have to do it, okay? So look, they probably just view the message and ignore it, but only 5% are going to reply and, book in a call with you or join your free lead magnet. But the 95% who don't, are you just going to leave that out there on the table? Because that is a huge number. And even if you can convert even 10%, even 5% with follow-ups, that's going to be a massive boost. That's like getting 3 to 4 bookings every single day just from follow-ups. And I see so many people stressing about less leads. I don't have enough leads. I don't have enough leads. Well, you've got hundreds of people who have saw your message and just haven't responded. And that's 4 bookings every single day. That's an extra 120 calls you can have every single month. And if you have more status, like sending a volume of DMs, you can book in 400 calls a day. And I'm not bullshitting. You can actually book in 400 calls a month. And that is because if you're following up properly. It's very painful, right? It's very painful. Now, I know it's awkward when you send the 3rd, 4th, and 5th message, right? You're probably worried about being pushy, seeing as awkward, seeing as a spam. But here's the truth. Because people are busy, right? They're not ignoring you because they hate you. They just forgot to reply, right? And what follow-ups are, they show persistence, so you're not desperate. And yes, it is very, very painful. So that's why I delegate mine to my appointment setter, or you can have some sort of AI software do this for you. If you want one, I can hook you up with one. Send me a DM on Instagram. But if you do this manually, you'll learn the skill of discipline. You learn the skill of grit. You learn the skill of showing up every single day. And that is exactly what's required in business, right? Booking calls is literally an entire business. It teaches you the skills of running a business. And that's why I'm a huge advocate for, running some sort of free school community. Because if you learn how to drive traffic, you can implement that in any business. Right. Now move on to the next step, which I don't know what I've even done here, but Yeah, move on to the next step. So day one, you want to send an outreach message. Hey man, love your post. Day two, just checking in if you sent my previous message. Day three, just like another follow up, just a quick tip that might help you. Day four, just another question. I'm curious, what's your biggest goals? Day five, just want to share a quick win. You send them some sort of testimonial. Day seven is going to be one of your last follow ups. Just make sure you didn't want to miss the opportunity to join a free lead magnet. And then day seven, I put together a video on XYZ. And if they watch it, they're just going to get nurtured. So your action steps are to set up that 7-day follow-up sequence. I want you to implement follow-up Friday. So block 2 hours out every Friday to follow up. And I want you to use the value bridge technique, which is for your third and fifth follow-ups, always include some sort of screenshot or link to a valuable content. So that is the follow-up formula right there. Now let's go over the problem solution cycle, and the video lead magnet is the solution. So the problem solution cycle is when problems are solved and new problems are created. And now you need to decide on what valuable narrow problem you're going to solve and for who that is, right? So here's how you can solve the problem solution cycle time and time again. So you need to understand there are 3 types of lead magnets, right? First one's a problem review, then there's a free trial, and then there's a free step 1 of X. Okay, so the problem review is a think diagnosis. Works great for problems and gets worse while you want it. So for example, speed test of a website, Facebook ads audit, free home inspection. Free trial is like think a sample, right? So it's a limited amount of time and you can use whatever like they're selling. For example, 30-day SaaS trial, free back adjustment, free font size consumable. And then a free step 1 of X. So think one of many steps. So for example, a book that can help you make money, a free course, free templates. Now you can use this in your outreach. You can use these as lead magnets to help you convert these guys into like actual buyers. And that is the entire sales strategy, which can allow you to print $30,000 a month minimum every single month. Now, if you want additional help, go follow my Instagram. I give you valuable content, right? And go drop me a follow, go send me a message, and I'll send you some insane free resources. Peace out.